Guys, it's your girl T, and I got this story that's coming from Indianapolis, Indiana. And I don't think we've ever had a story from Indianapolis. And I've noticed with this story has not gone national. It's kind of swept under the rug. This story is just a trip. I've been researching it all morning. So what's going on is that basically you have these two young people. Their older sister is a 27-year-old white woman. The 13-year-old is Emma Blackwell, and the 16-year-old, her brother, is Aaron Blackwell. And so they were basically kidnapped in the middle of the night. Their sister is basically a stripper. She was running with all these dope boys. She was trying to be about that life, and she ended up stealing money from the wrong dope boy. Him and his crew came back to kidnap her siblings. So this entire story is just really, really disturbing. The two younger kids are biracial. Their older sister is a white woman. Their older brother, who's also involved in this now, their older brother, his name is Stanley Pernell. They're all half brothers and sisters. So this entire situation is just a mess. So once those kids got kidnapped, Stanley received a phone call and said, you have until X amount of time to get us $140,000, and you need to have it wired to Miami. If not, we're going to kill your brothers and sisters. So he got so paranoid, he got so scared. So before going to the police, he went to go do a home invasion. He went to go rob somebody of their weed and their money, trying to come up with money to basically save his little siblings. And he got arrested in the middle of this burglary, so now he's in jail. So while he's in jail, they're also trying to get a hold of the sister, who's also in jail. This whole situation is a mess. An Amber Alert goes out through the state of Indiana to go find these kids. Eventually the kidnappers get tired, and they're texting the main guy, Jay, saying, you know what, I'm not trying to be no babysitter, I ain't got time for this shit. And they end up basically getting rid of the boy in Detroit, Michigan. The girl gets dropped off in Ohio at a Taco Bell. They give her $200 and tell her to find her own way home. If this ain't some bootleg ass, Quentin Tarantino ass shit, I don't know what is. This entire story is just confusing as hell. Go ahead and check out this entire news clip, and I'm gonna come back with the rest of my commentary.
In 24 hours, $43,000 had to be in Miami, Florida.
Stanley Pernell's siblings Emma and Aaron Blackwell were abducted and taken for ransom from their Indianapolis home Monday morning, prompting a statewide Amber Alert. Pernell is behind bars on unrelated charges.
Hopefully it is over. I mean, I don't know what happened to the money or whatever was going on with that.
They had told me they cut my little sister's fingers off. You could hear her screaming in the background. I felt so bad because all that happened because of me.
Stanley Pernell's older half-sister, Whitney Blackwell, takes the blame, stealing $120,000 in cash and drugs from her dealer boyfriend in Detroit, court documents say. When he came looking for the cash, Whitney nowhere to be found. That's when her younger siblings, Emma and Aaron, were taken.
I didn't take all that money they said I took, and I did not take the drugs. I only took some of the money, and I left a lot of it there.
The kidnappers called Pernell several times demanding the missing money. Pernell says he even got to talk to his brother Aaron.
When I was talking to my little brother, they said that they were like going to cut off her fingers and stuff like that if they didn't get their money on time.
Pernell is facing a burglary charge tonight after trying to find the stashed drug money. In a desperate scramble for cash, Pernell snuck in through a window of this home, stealing $100 and some marijuana. But when police got inside, they found cash everywhere and a duffel bag with Whitney Blackwell's IDs, marijuana, and pills.
Looked for the money, like, you know, shoe boxes. That would be a common place. There wasn't none in there. I checked the vents.
Aaron was found tied up in the back of this car after a high-speed chase in Detroit. His fingers were cut so deep he needed stitches. Emma told investigators her captors gave her $200 to take a cab home from Ohio.
They're so dangerous, I'd rather be in jail than be out there where he can find me. I'm scared in here.
Several people, all from Detroit, are now facing federal charges in connection with a kidnapping in Indiana that led to an Amber Alert. This brother and sister were taken from their Indianapolis home at gunpoint early Monday morning. The boy was found tied up and blindfolded in the back of an SUV here in Detroit. Tonight, both he and his sister are back home and safe, and we're getting a better idea of exactly what happened. Priya Mann joins us now. Priya, it's like an Elmore Leonard novel. It involves an exotic dancer, drugs, and a lot of money.
And Devin, this conspiracy was allegedly days in the making. This is the criminal complaint against 6 Detroiters now facing federal charges. The ringleader is the alleged ex-boyfriend of the kidnapped teen's older sister, and for the first time, we heard from her today. Wearing a prison jumpsuit, Whitney Blackwell tried to explain what life had been like leading up to the kidnapping of her younger siblings.
That man told me that he made me get this tattoo on my back and told me that he owned me. He said he loved me till death do us part, and I'm really gonna die.
The FBI traced Blackwell back to this Detroit home in the 8000 block of Bingham Street. Up until last month, she'd lived there with her ex-boyfriend John Thomas, a man she'd met while working as a stripper on Detroit's west side. Thomas told police Blackwell stole $120,000, a kilo of cocaine, and 4,000 OxyContin pills from the home. The affidavit alleges that Thomas and 5 other people conspired to kidnap Blackwell's younger siblings in return for the drugs and cash. In the early hours on Monday, 16-year-old Aaron and 13-year-old Emma Blackwell were kidnapped from their Indianapolis home at gunpoint. Throughout the day, 8 ransom calls were made to the children's family. Police tracked the number back to this Detroit home near Gilroy and Annabelle. During surveillance Monday evening, police saw 2 men leave the home and get into an SUV. After a brief car chase, which ended when the vehicle plowed into a snowbank, both men were arrested. 16-year-old Aaron was discovered in the trunk, blindfolded, and his hands bound with zip ties.
I had put my whole family's life in danger over this, and I just wanted to leave so that I would be okay. I was scared to be there, and I'm scared. I'm more scared now.
And Blackwell remains behind bars, charged with conspiracy to commit cocaine. Now, this must have been such a terrifying ordeal. It's alleged that one of the kidnappers threatened to chop off the teen boy's fingers if he didn't give them the answers that they wanted. When doctors examined the boy, they did find cuts on his hands, as you mentioned, Devin, at the top. Both of those young children are now under the care of Children's Protective Services. Reporting live from Deep Detroit, I'm Priya Mann, Local 4.
It is a mind-boggling story, Priya. So we know you just explained how the older child, the boy, was found. Do we know how Emma, the 13-year-old, was found?
It is quite bizarre. It's alleged that 13-year-old girl was first brought to Detroit. Then she was taken to Kentucky, where she was dropped off at a Taco Bell. She was given $200 and told to take a cab home. She did that, and that's where police found her. Again, both children are now safe. Devin?
Unbelievable story.
All right, so you guys just watched that disturbing news clip. First of all, I don't feel bad for the sister at all. Her ass is scared. Her ass wants to cry and snitch and tell now. My thing is, when you was running the streets with the dope boys, when you was running the streets with all these black folks who were in gangs and selling drugs and doing everything else, you thought it was glamorous. And that's what folks need to realize. Stop trying to be about that life if you're not about that life. You cannot sit here and run with dope boys and think that you can take their money or take their drugs and then think everything's going to be all good. If they can't get to you, they're going to get to your siblings. My heart goes out to this 13 and 16-year-old. I thank God that the 13-year-old girl was not raped or molested by these people. You know, so what the hell is the older sister thinking? Why would you get yourself involved in this? And then once it affects your family, now you want to play, now you want to play Little Miss Becky, I don't know anything, and have all these crocodile tears. And I really feel like the media is not running with this story because it's a white woman who's involved. Whereas if this was a 27-year-old black girl, she'd be all types of ratchets, ghetto bitches. That's what black women do. They always mess with dope boys and drug dealers. This would have been front page. This would have been all over H&L News, CNN. But because the main character in this is a white woman, it's almost like they're trying to, protect her some way by not making this really national. Because like I said, I just happened across this story while looking for another story. And I'm like, this is some really crazy ass shit. People need to take this situation as a lesson and realize if you're going to get involved with that type of lifestyle with these type of people, you better realize that you might not only put your life at risk, but also your family's life at risk. They also interviewed the mother of the children, who's also the mother of all 4 of these people. And the mother even said herself that she feels that her daughter has no remorse. Her daughter's just pretending for the cameras, and she blames her older daughter for all this foolishness. Because of her stupid ass wanting to run the streets with drug dealers, her brother ends up in jail for trying to get money to rescue the younger brothers and sisters, and now she's trying to play like some innocent victim. This whole situation is just really, really sad, and I just thank God they did not kill these kids. I thank God they didn't throw these kids off of a bridge. I'm just happy that eventually they got tired and they just let the kids go. But the thing is, real life is not a movie. This is not a Quentin Tarantino flick. These people are not looking at federal charges, really, really serious charges. 6 people have been indicted because of this one white girl. This whole situation is just insane to me. I just thank God that nobody lost their lives, but people need to take this as a lesson to realize that if you're not about that life, stay the hell out the damn drug game. Anyways, go ahead and leave a comment. Let me know your thoughts on this entire disturbing ass situation that's coming from Indiana. So go ahead and leave a comment. All right, deuces.